The number one trader at Lark Funding has earned over $50,000 in payouts. That is absolutely phenomenal. It is the top 0.01% of traders. But we recently discovered a trader that far exceeded that. He exceeded it so much that it makes $50,000 in payouts look like complete small boy stuff. Yes, the title of this video is true. I just met a trader that has made over $329,000 in payouts. And he was kind enough to share his story, how he learned, and what he thinks other traders should do to get to where he is. First off, we have a gentleman's agreement on this channel. Over 70% of you watching, yes, that means it is likely you is not subscribed to the channel. We're putting 3 videos out every week, so please subscribe. It does us a huge favor. Okay, so we are talking about Steven. Steven is indeed on Twitter, but he has a small following and deserves way more followers. So we're gonna put his account up somewhere along here. An editor manual, once you throw up some of his payout certificates as well. He shared everything with us, over 20 certificates, but we'll throw up some of the biggest ones here. So first things first, before we get into the entire story of Steven, we need to break down some of the facts. And we're going to throw up a screen recording here from our newsletter on Lark Digest, #1 newsletter for traders, over 25,000 subscribers on there. You can subscribe down below. Steven has only been trading for 3 years, which is just absolutely insane. I've been trading for 7 or 8 years, and I'm nowhere as good as Steven. Company is currently funded with, Lark Funding is not on there, but that's okay. No hard feelings, Steven. He is funded with MyFundedFX, Funded Peaks, and Funding Trader. So clearly trying to get max allocation at these firms. Challenges taken, quote, too many to count. But Steven said that he estimates he has taken roughly 100 challenges. So if you have failed a challenge, if you have failed 3 or 5 or 10, Steven is proof that it is a numbers game. You can't quit, you gotta keep going. Total funding at his peak, Steven was funded with $2.1 million, but because several firms have gone out of business, he's now currently at $1 million. But again, nothing to laugh at whatsoever. $1 million of funding is absolutely insane. Total payouts, $329,614. However, Steven, since posting this, has actually received another $20,000 payout from MyFundedFX, so it is now above that. So the question is, how did somebody who has only been trading for 3 years absolutely destroy the trading market, the trading world? Well, here's his story. Steven is 35 years old and he lives in Miami. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking exactly what I was. Ugh, Miami, just another cringy trading influencer. However, Steven is not, because 1, Steven doesn't sell anything, and 2, Steven admits that Miami is a super cringy place to live, but is actually a great place to live, even though there's lots of stereotypes. Steven was one of the top paid traders at The Funded Trader. We'll throw up his payout certificate here, one of many, of roughly $25,000. So that's basically his story. 35 years old, been trading for 3 years, lives in Miami, taken over 100 challenges. So the question is, how did he do it? You're watching because you want to do the same, so let's break it down. When we asked Steven how he learned so quickly, how he got so successful in just 3 years, he said, trader's reality. I owe a lot to Tino for giving me the foundation and knowledge to be able to do what I do. Now, I have absolutely no idea who Tino is, but I highly encourage you to go hunt him down, find him immediately, right after this video, of course. I'm also not familiar with Trader's Reality, but they are 100% worth looking into. Steven went on to say that you don't need to buy anything to get into trading. You can learn mostly everything for free on YouTube with reputable traders like Trader's Reality or ICT. Now, this is part of the interview that I absolutely loved with Steven. He said you don't need to buy anything. It is so rare in this industry to find a successful trader, a trader who actually has payout proof and tons of payout proof, that is not selling a course, that says you don't need to buy anything, you can learn for free. It's so refreshing. Steven, if you're watching this, shout out to you. Huge respect for that. When it comes to taking challenges, Steven said that he either passes or fails a challenge within a week or less. The way I see it, any longer and you are just wasting time. Now here, I personally don't agree with that. I don't think it's a waste of time to take your time on challenges. I personally, when I took my challenges, my #1 goal wasn't to pass. My #1 goal was to protect the capital that I invested into that challenge. A $600 challenge is half a month's worth of rent for me, so I didn't want to lose that. That was my #1 priority. So of course, Steven has made so much, he can risk more on a challenge. However, me personally, I have no problem passing in a month or however long it takes. Now, obviously, passing so quickly, traders online have called Steven a gambler. This, contrary to popular belief, I don't risk 4% on a funded account on every trade, or on any trade really. I don't necessarily have a fixed risk amount. Sometimes it's 0.5%, sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's more. Depends on price action and structure, really. If I was a gambler, I wouldn't be able to replicate what I do so many times in a row. Now, that's absolutely true. That last line is fire. Okay, so the question is, moving forward, Steven was at $2.1 million in funding. He's down to $1 million due to everything that's happening in the industry with many firms closing, trust being at an all-time low. So I asked Steven, what do you think about the industry, where it's headed, how traders can approach it in these uncertain times? Unsurprisingly, Steven said that he has already planned for this. He has diversified. He said, you can't just have one funded account. You always have to have backups. So I made sure to have at least 2 to 3 accounts running at a time. At one point, I had 10 before all the chaos in the industry started. Managing 10 accounts simultaneously, that deserves a video on its own. Can't even imagine the headache of doing that, but that's his approach. Regarding rule changes, Steven said, I don't mind the rule changes. I always followed the rules to the letter as they are written, which is why I've never been denied a payout. Whatever the firms have to do to stay sustainable, I'm all for it. I may have to adapt, but that's what trading is at the end of the day. You always have to adapt to market conditions, and prop trading is no different. I absolutely love that. I think he hit it right on the nail. In trading, if you're trading your own personal capital, regardless of what you're trading, you always have to adapt. And the prop industry, still being very young, very new, you're just going to have to adapt as well. And so I love the mindset of Steven, especially somebody who has milked firms for so many payouts. He's not saying, no, the rules have to stay the same. He wants firms to stay sustainable. That's a tongue twister, because he knows the tremendous opportunity that they're providing. Now, I know what you're thinking at this point. Steven is the man, and I couldn't agree more. And you're probably wondering, how can you learn from him? And he said, I get messaged all the time from traders asking for advice or signals or something like that. And honestly, I don't do any of that because I don't want to be responsible if someone oversizes and blows an account or something like that. But also, I have a very unique way of trading that may not be suitable for everyone. He did go on to say, though, that to anyone wanting to get into trading, my best advice is you don't need to buy anything. Again, this idea that you don't need to buy anything is so refreshing. He said you can learn mostly everything for free on YouTube with reputable traders like Traders Reality or ICT. Demo trade until you get the hang of it, and once you feel ready, honestly, buy a prop challenge before risking your own capital. I couldn't agree more. When I first got funded, my mindset was, why risk my own money when I can risk somebody else's? And I think that still holds true for today. Social media can be a dirty place. It can be a misguiding place. It can be an unrealistic place. Every trader on Twitter looks like they are massively profitable, yet they have no proof. They don't show payouts. And even if they do, questionable whether those payouts are legit or not. But Steven is the real deal, having earned payouts with many different firms. He doesn't teach anything. He has nothing to gain by you following him. And so, for those of you that might be feeling discouraged with the state of the industry, Steven should be a shining light on what is possible. So, focus on what he did. Ignore all the other noise. Definitely go give Steven a follow. We'll paste his link for his Twitter down below. If you have any questions, let us know down below. Again, we have that gentleman's agreement, so please subscribe. 70% of you watching are not subscribed. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.